Hello, Internet. So today I want to talk to you about my theory for the end of One Piece. So this is going to be at least a two-part video because there are two main parts to my theory. The first is the final fight, and the second is what I want to see after that fight. So first, I just want to set this up really quick. This is what I'm talking about is what's going to happen after they find the One Piece, because there is going to be something after the One Piece, and people don't seem to realize that. And I'm not just talking about like a little closer arc where they really say bye to the characters and stuff and see the people's reactions. There's a fight after they find the One Piece. Whitebeard already set it up. He said, in Marineford, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. He said, when someone finds the legendary treasure of One Piece, they're going to come back carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, and they're going to challenge the world government. A lot of people seem to neglect this part of the speech. And people were talking about who's going to be the final fight, and they're saying it's going to happen before you find the One Piece, and that's just not accurate because of what Whitebeard said. And I've seen in a lot of theories about where the fourth poneglyph is, and people say the world government has it in Mary Joa. That just doesn't make sense because that would mean that Luffy has to fight the world government before he finds the One Piece. And based on what Whitebeard said, we know that he's going to have to fight them afterwards. So I just want to outline what I think that war is going to be like. In a previous video, I talked about Vivi possibly coming back, and why Luffy being able to say, why Vivi knowing that Luffy and the rest of the Straw Hats are her friends is important. It's going to be important because every country and every person that's going to take part in this fight is going to have to pick a side. Are you going to side with the Pirate King, Luffy, or are you going to side with the world government? You would think that automatically the armies of the world, and especially the countries that are allied with the world government, are going to side with the world government. But think about the people Luffy's helped. He's helped the people in Alabasta, he's helped the people on Drum Island, and he's helped the people Sky Island, Fishman Island, Dressrosa now, Zoe, and the king that was fighting in the Coliseum, not Rico, the other king, I can't remember his name or his country, but he's obviously kind of siding with Luffy. We're leaning towards siding with Luffy. And so, based on Whitebeard's speech, we know that whatever the One Piece is, which we can assume it's the history of the world, right? That's probably what the One Piece is. Whatever it says is going to start a war. It's going to get whoever finds it, according to Whitebeard, to want to come back and fight against the world government. And in another video, I'll talk about why Roger didn't do that and why none of Roger's crew did it. But what's important to know for how the war is going to go is that people are going to have to pick their side. The truth of the Void Century is going to come out, and you're going to have to pick. Do you side with the world government? Do you agree with what they've done? Or do you want to side with the Pirate King Luffy and bring an end to the world government? And bringing an end to the world government, and this is important, I think, in my head, doesn't mean just getting rid of it. It means destroying the current establishment and starting a new one. The Gorosei have been in charge for who knows how long, but the World Nobles have been in charge since the end of the Void Century. We know that much. But their system's outdated, and clearly whatever's on the One Piece lets us know that these people are not the ones that we want in charge. I think I'll talk about this in the second part of this video, or this little theory series. But I think that there are going to be Marines that side with Luffy, and they're going to be the ones that take over after he beats the Gorosei. So anyway, the Gorosei are obviously going to be the final enemy. People are saying it's Blackbeard or Akainu, but it has to be the Gorosei. I think that, and again, I'll talk about this more in a different video, but I think right before the One Piece, Luffy's going to have already beaten Blackbeard, but I think that Akainu is going to be just a side fight in the final war. It makes sense that Luffy would have to beat him, but I honestly think it's going to be Sabo that fights against Akainu, because Oda loves foreshadowing, and the fact that Sabo has the Maranomi, and Sabo's the one that's carrying on Ace's will, shows me that he's going to have to be the one that beats the person that killed Ace, and that's Akainu. So I think what's going to happen is Luffy, his fleet, which is going to keep growing, and obviously the main Straw Hat crew, and then as well as some Marines that defect. I'll talk about in a different video who I think that might be, and then some of the world governments, the countries, are going to fight against the world government, and maybe the Shishibukai, but I think that system is going to break apart before this war, and again, I'll talk about that in a different video. But it's going to be them against the world government, and Luffy's obviously going to have to fight one of the Gorosei, because the Gorosei are the top, right? So then you have to look at who fight the other Gorosei. It's going to be members of the worst generation, but I also think, so there are 5 Gorosei, so we need 5 people to fight them, because as much as I've talked about the fights in the New World being not one-on-one, I think that'll change after the One Piece, because I think by then they'll be strong enough to keep up with the monsters one-on-one. So it'll be Luffy versus one of the Gorosei, Zoro and Sanji versus other ones, and so that leaves 2 others, and I think the only people that make sense to fight against the Gorosei are Law and Kid. Oda set this up back in Sabaody after Luffy punched the Celestial Dragon, that it's going to be Law and Kid standing side by side with Luffy, which means they're going to be the new Yonko, and I'll talk about that again in a different video. But what's important to note is that there need to be 5 people fighting against the Gorosei. We have Luffy, another 2 members of the Monster Trio, Zoro, Sanji, and then we have Law. Law's already allied himself with Luffy. I'll talk about, and again, another video, how I think it's going to end up that Kid ends up on Luffy's side. But basically it's because Kid's not going to side with the world government, and if Luffy's challenging the world government, Kid's not going to want to be left out of that. And by the time Luffy's the Pirate King, Kid's going to realize that he can't beat Luffy, so he'll side with Luffy. I think I'll go into more detail in a different video about that. But it's going to be those 5 against the Gorosei, and I think the Admirals are still going to be in this fight. But it's important to note that by now, Luffy's going to have more allies. But I still think it makes sense if Usopp is fighting one of them. I said already Sabo is going to be fighting Akainu. And I think Killer is going to fight the other, because he's another member of the worst generation. And the reason I picked Usopp is because I think Usopp is actually the 4th strongest Straw Hat. I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. But I think it makes sense for Usopp to fight against Kizaru. Oh, and then there's going to be so there's the Fleet Admiral, Akainu, who I think Sabo's going to beat. Kizaru, who I think Usopp's gonna fight, and then Killer's gonna fight one, and I don't know who the fourth person will be. It depends. Maybe Jinbei, maybe Marco. I think Marco would make sense. Maybe Aokiji, depending on what happens there. I'll talk about Aokiji in another video. But anyway, so the main point of this is I think that the war is going to happen after they find the One Piece. And then Luffy's obviously going to win. And what happens after that is what I want to talk about in my next video, which is going to be about what I hope happens after the war. I think this one was pretty straightforward. There's going to be a war afterwards. It's going to be the pirates versus the world government, and some of the world government's former allies helping Luffy out because he's helped them and they agree with him. Again, I think I'll cover more specifically who I think it's going to be and why in another video. But I just wanted to get out there the fact that there is a war after the One Piece. Whitebeard has said it. He said that after someone finds the One Piece, they're going to come back, and then they're going to start the war, and that's what Sengoku and the rest of the world government's afraid of. He didn't say in order to find the One Piece, and he didn't say the person who will end up finding it. He said the person that finds it is going to come back and start a war. And that's a point that's been neglected. And I just thought it was important to get that out there. So, again, this is going to be like a kind of mini series about the end of One Piece. And I'm sure a lot of it's going to be wrong, but I just want to get my ideas out there since we can start to see the finish line in sight. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to hear about. And until then, stay classy, Internet.